The origin of the Filipino people is a story that traverses time, stretching from biblical narratives to modern genetic research. It is a tale of resilience, courage, and cultural melding. To understand Filipino heritage, we must journey through various theories and connections, some rooted in religious texts, others in historical migrations and scientific discoveries. Each element, from the lineage of Noah's sons to the Austronesian migration and rich cultural exchanges, paints a picture of a people formed by an intricate tapestry of influences, interactions, and legacies. After the Great Flood, the Bible recounts the story of Noah and his three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who are believed to have repopulated the earth. Each son's lineage supposedly became the ancestor of different groups of people, spreading out across the world. Shem, in particular, is traditionally regarded as the forebear of the Semitic people, whose descendants are thought to include the ancient populations of the Middle East and parts of Asia. This line of descent forms a symbolic connection between Shem and the Filipino people, suggesting that Filipino ancestry may include a biblical element. According to this interpretation, the descendants of Shem spread throughout Asia, establishing communities and civilizations that would eventually populate various parts of the continent, including Southeast Asia. Although the Bible does not directly mention the Philippines, the possibility that Filipinos could trace part of their lineage back to Shem introduces a thought-provoking aspect to their heritage. This theory draws on more than lineage. It reflects shared cultural traits such as a focus on family and kinship, resilience in the face of adversity, and a deep respect for community, values that resonate with the broader Semitic tradition. These traits align with Filipino customs and attitudes, where family is central, community bonds are strong, and respect for ancestors and traditions remains essential. Such values provide a living link to ancient traditions that Filipinos carry forward, creating a sense of connection to an ancient past. Central to the history of the Filipino people is the Austronesian migration, a foundational chapter in Filipino ancestry. Approximately 4,000 years ago, the Austronesians, a group of skilled seafarers and navigators, embarked on a journey that would eventually connect Taiwan to islands across the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Known as the Austronesian expansion, this migration spread not only people, but also language, technology, and cultural practices that shaped societies across the Pacific. The Austronesians were pioneers in boat building, constructing vessels that allowed them to traverse open seas and establish communities on distant islands. As they settled in the Philippine archipelago, the Austronesians brought with them a cohesive cultural identity. They introduced farming techniques, social structures, and a unique spiritual worldview deeply tied to nature and community. The legacy of the Austronesians can still be seen today in Filipino language and culture. Linguistically, Filipino shares roots with other Austronesian languages spoken across the Pacific, forming part of a larger linguistic family. The Austronesian spirit, marked by courage, adaptability, and a sense of community, continues to shape Filipino culture, values, and society. These early settlers laid the foundation for what would become a vibrant, diverse Filipino identity, built upon a heritage of adaptability and resilience that persists today. A particularly captivating theory connecting the Philippines to the Bible is the belief that the islands might be linked to the biblical land of Ophir. Ophir, mentioned in the Old Testament, is a place famed for its wealth, particularly gold. King Solomon's ships reportedly traveled to Ophir to bring back precious treasures, including gold, silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. This detailed description has led some historians and biblical scholars to suggest that Ophir may have been located in Southeast Asia, possibly within the Philippine archipelago, known historically for its abundant natural resources, including gold, that was mined and traded long before the Spanish colonization. While there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the Philippines was the biblical Ophir, the idea that it could be so resonates with Filipinos' pride in their rich and resourceful land. The notion of Ophir as a symbol of wealth and prosperity, tied to the Philippines, offers a sense of historical significance and connection to ancient tales. If the Philippines were indeed linked to Solomon's riches, it would mean that the archipelago held an esteemed place in the ancient world as a region of wealth and beauty. The allure of this connection also emphasizes the Philippines' historic role as a major center of resources and trade, adding yet another chapter to the multifaceted narrative of Filipino heritage. Another compelling aspect of Filipino history is the theory that suggests a possible connection between Filipinos and the lost tribes of Israel. According to biblical accounts, the 10 northern tribes of Israel were dispersed following the Assyrian conquest of the Kingdom of Israel, their whereabouts lost to history. Some researchers have speculated that these tribes might have migrated far from their homeland, reaching places as distant as Southeast Asia. This theory, while speculative, has gained traction due to modern genetic research revealing traces of Middle Eastern DNA in some Filipino populations. Filipino culture, too, shows certain values and customs that echo ancient Middle Eastern traditions, lending subtle hints to this theory. The communal spirit, deep respect for family, and close-knit social bonds reflect practices shared across many cultures in Asia and the Middle East. Although these similarities could be coincidental, they highlight the historical blending of cultures that likely occurred across civilizations. Migration and trade might have played an instrumental role in linking these distant peoples, enabling a cultural exchange that went beyond goods and encompassed ideas, beliefs, and practices. Advances in genetic research have deepened our understanding of Filipino ancestry, shedding light on a complex blend of lineages that reflects a rich and diverse heritage. Studies show that Filipinos have a unique mix of DNA from Austronesian, East Asian, South Asian, and Middle Eastern populations. One significant study by Filipino-American geneticist Dr. Matthew Sayo analyzed mitochondrial DNA from various indigenous groups across the Philippines, finding markers that connect Filipinos to ancient populations in Taiwan. This discovery aligns with the Austronesian expansion, a migration wave that began in Taiwan approximately 4,000 years ago and spread across Southeast Asia, the Pacific Islands, and beyond. Further research by Dr. Christopher Duncan, a geneticist at the University of Illinois, identified traces of Middle Eastern DNA in Filipino populations, particularly in Mindanao. These genetic markers suggest ancient interactions with traders from the Arabian Peninsula and South Asia, underscoring the Philippines' role as a cultural melting pot shaped by centuries of trade and migration. The diverse Filipino gene pool reveals a history of interconnectedness, where ancient migration and trade left an indelible mark on the Filipino people. This genetic diversity is a testament to the Philippines' role as a bridge between various cultures, with a heritage formed through the exchange of ideas, customs, and genes across centuries. Linguistic studies add another layer of understanding to Filipino ancestry. Dr. Lawrence Reed, a prominent linguist, has traced Filipino languages back to Proto-Austronesian, a language spoken in Taiwan over 4,000 years ago. Filipino languages share linguistic characteristics with other Austronesian languages, linking them to a wider family of Pacific Island cultures. Additionally, the presence of loanwords from Sanskrit, Arabic, and Chinese reflects the influence of trade and foreign interactions on Filipino culture. These words, often related to commerce, religion, and daily life, serve as linguistic artifacts that document the cultural exchanges that took place in the ancient Philippines. Archaeological evidence further reveals that the Philippines was once a hub of maritime activity, with a rich culture of seafaring and trade. The Butuan boats, a series of plank-built vessels discovered in Agusan del Norte, Mindanao, date back to the 4th century AD and showcase the advanced boat-building skills of early Filipinos. These boats, constructed from wooden planks held together by dowels, demonstrate an understanding of maritime technology that allowed early Filipinos to participate in long-distance trade. Goods such as pearls, shells, and woven textiles were exchanged with merchants from China, India, and the Middle East, creating a vibrant network of commerce and cultural exchange. These boats also indicate that ancient Filipinos were not merely passive recipients of foreign influence. Rather, they were active participants in a vast trade network, playing a crucial role in the movement of goods and ideas. The discovery of artifacts from Persia, India, and China highlights the extent of these trade connections, underscoring the Philippines' role as a dynamic center of interaction. This ancient maritime culture laid the foundation for an entrepreneurial spirit that continues to define Filipino society, a spirit of adaptability, resilience, and openness to new ideas and influences. The Sulu archipelago and the establishment of the Sulu Sultanate in the 13th century marked another key chapter in Filipino history. As a powerful maritime state, the Sultanate of Sulu engaged in trade with major civilizations, including China, the Middle East, and East Africa. Through these trade connections, Islam was introduced to the southern Philippines, bringing profound cultural and religious influences that shaped Filipino society. The introduction of Islam provided a new spiritual dimension and established a system of governance through the Sultanate, centralizing power and fostering alliances with Muslim traders and rulers. Islam left an enduring impact on the Philippines, especially in areas like Mindanao and the Sulu archipelago. Filipino Muslim communities developed unique customs, blending Islamic values with local traditions to create a distinct cultural identity. This fusion of Islamic and indigenous practices is a testament to the flexibility and openness of Filipino society, where different beliefs and customs are harmonized to create a unique cultural landscape. Filipino mythology also reflects this rich history of cultural blending. Bathala, the supreme deity of the Tagalog people, is a central figure in Filipino mythology, credited with creating the world and all its creatures. The creation myth involving Bathala shares similarities with the Genesis story, as he creates the first man and woman, Malakas and Maganda, from a bamboo stalk. This story not only illustrates the Filipino reverence for strength and beauty, but also demonstrates the common threads that bind diverse cultures, where creation myths serve as a way to understand humanity's origins and place in the world. The Laguna copper plate inscription, dating back to 900 AD, offers additional insight into early Filipino society. This artifact, written in a mix of Old Malay, Javanese, and Sanskrit, documents a sophisticated culture with established trade and political connections throughout Southeast Asia. The inscription serves as a reminder that the Philippines was not isolated, but was part of a larger regional economy, engaging with neighboring cultures in trade, governance, and cultural exchange. The origin of the Filipino people is a narrative woven from numerous threads of migration, trade, and cultural exchange. From the biblical lineage of Shem and theories about the lost tribes of Israel, to the Austronesian migration and the vibrant trade networks of ancient Southeast Asia, Filipino identity is a tapestry of influences that reflects resilience, diversity, and adaptability. The Filipino people embody values of strength, unity, and respect for heritage, shaped by the courage and ingenuity of ancestors who traveled, traded, and embraced new cultures. With continued advances in genetic research and archaeology, our understanding of Filipino history continues to grow. Each new discovery reveals more layers of a complex heritage, illuminating the Philippines' role as a historical crossroads of cultures, ideas, and beliefs. This legacy of diversity and interconnectedness is a source of pride and an enduring part of the Filipino identity, a spirit that honors both its ancient roots and its evolving place in the world. Through this journey of exploration, we gain a deeper appreciation of what it means to be Filipino, a unique blend of ancient traditions, diverse ancestries, and a shared cultural identity that has evolved over millennia. It is a story of resilience and adaptation, connecting Filipinos to both their past and their future in a way that honors their heritage and celebrates their unique place in the world.